So as mentioned, we'll be covering one more concept called Linux operating system, Kali Linux operating system. So we need to have a basic idea on how to operate on Linux versus what are the important commands that you regularly use in Linux operating systems. So that's one more prerequisite. After that is done, nothing more. You can get started with cybersecurity. So those are two important prerequisites for this. Yes, we still have Linux to learn. So again, today we're going to learn how to install that Linux operating system. And from next class onwards, we'll learn how to operate, how to learn these, again, how to operate on Linux and what are the important commands in it. I'll cover that. So I'll explain all that in a minute. Okay, so once we, how much do you have right now? That might be too less. Minimum requirement would be around 80 gigs of storage. And again, processor could be anything. You can be running it on i3 processor as well. i5 is recommended, but if you have i3, that works as well. And 8 gigs of RAM. So the random access memory, you need 8 gigs of that recommended. Perfect. Mhm. Yeah, you might have to say recommended space would be at least, if not 80, at least 60 gigs for all the virtual machine setup and all. Okay. Right. Again, you can still understand the understanding of Linux and how to install this operating system and all. And once you save up some space, once you delete some unnecessary or unrequired data or shift that, then you can perform the installation over the weekend. No rush. Yeah. As soon as the class ends, you'll be getting it from the counselor directly. So same day, same day. Yes. Okay. Okay. Hi Shekhar. Hi Jeevan. I hope you can hear me as well.
Hi Shoaib. Yeah, I can able to hear you now.
Hey guys, Jeevan has not connected his audio yet. Let's wait for that. Okay. Hi Anand Kishore. Can you hear me? Kishore, can you hear me? Am I audible? Okay, I guess Kishore is AFK. Okay, guys, let's get started without any further ado. As mentioned earlier, today we are supposed to be covering how to install a practical hands-on lab. So again, the most important tool that we'll be using throughout this course is an operating system called the Kali Linux operating system. This is basically a Debian flavored Linux operating system. And again, as mentioned, definitely this is different from what we regularly use in your day-to-day life. So we are working on Windows right now. Most of your devices might have Windows installed. Okay, but what we need for this course is another operating system called Kali. Now, in the olden days, when you had to run both Windows and Linux on the same time, that wasn't possible. There was a technique called dual booting, where you could either boot into Windows or Linux on the same system, but not simultaneously on both OSs. Okay, so that is why with the advancement of technology, we have a tool or a software called virtualization software. Now, this virtualization software allows you to run multiple operating systems at the same time. So you don't need physical devices for this. On your base machine itself, what it does is it installs virtual machines. So if we assume this is my Windows 11 operating system device, Windows 11, and let's say this has a configuration of 1 TB hard drive and let's say 16 gigs of RAM or so. Now what we can do is within this, we can install a tool called VMware. So VMware is a virtualization software. So there's VMware, or there's something called VirtualBox from Oracle. Okay, all of these are virtualization softwares. What these allow you to do is they allow you to install multiple virtual machines. Okay, so internally now, I can install multiple virtual machines here. And these virtual machines, again, they're not physically available on your device, guys. They're again virtually present. by occupying or borrowing the resources from the base machine. So if I install 3 operating systems here, let's say one is Kali OS, and then I install Ubuntu, let's say, okay, and then let's say I install Windows 7. Okay. Now, as long as these virtual machines are running, they will borrow the resources from the base machine. So if Kali, let's say, uses 100 gigs of storage and 2 gigs of RAM, Ubuntu another 50 gigs of storage, and let's say 2 gigs of RAM, and Windows 7, let's say, another 50 gigs of storage and 2 gigs of RAM. Okay. So as long as these virtual machines are running, now those resources will be borrowed from the base machine. So out of this 1 TB now, 200 gigabytes will be given to the virtual machines. Okay. And when you delete them, that storage goes back to the base machine again. And as long as they're running, they'll occupy that memory as well. So out of 16 gigs, 6 gigs is allocated to the virtual machines. Now the base machine only runs with 10 gigs. As long as the virtual machines are running, they'll occupy that memory. If you shut it down, that memory goes back to the base machine. So you're not allocating anything separately physically. It is available with the physical device itself, but being borrowed to the virtual machines. So that's the concept of virtualization, virtually running multiple operating systems at the same time. Okay. So again, as mentioned, there are multiple softwares for this process. One is VMware Workstation, VMware Workstation Pro. So this is around $199 or something, guys. But again, don't worry, you don't have to purchase this in any way. I'll be providing this tool to you for free. So again, this is right now down for maintenance also. But again, if you notice, it's priced at $199. Okay. So I have the cracked version for this. I'm using the same cracked version on my system as well. And it's completely free. You don't need to worry about any malware also. I've been using this since a lot of years and I've never faced any issues. So rather than you paying that $199, you can run it on the cracked version. If you still don't want to go for a cracked version, there's an alternative as well called VirtualBox. Now, the reason I don't use this is because this is open source and it has a lot of bugs actually. It doesn't work so smoothly compared to VMware. So it's not that user friendly with interface. Okay. So again, it's your choice. It's your subjective choice. You can go for an open source software or a cracked version. Anything works. Okay. Installation procedures are pretty similar, not much difference. Okay. But I'll be showing this in installation on the VMware workstation. Okay. So what I'm going to do by the end of this class is I'm going to share these files to you, the VMware virtualization software and the Kali Linux operating system as well. So if I show you the files, yeah, so these are the links I should be sharing to you guys. I have the VMware already stored on my Google Drive. So I'll be sharing this Google Drive link to you. And when you click on that link, it should redirect you to my Google Drive where you see there's a setup folder. And in that setup folder, you would have an exe file, the setup exe file for VMware, which is around 621 MB. Okay, so that's the file storage size. So you would have to download this file, guys. Right now, on my system, VMware is actually pre-installed. So I'm going to quickly uninstall this first. Just give me 1 minute. Yeah, I'm going to uninstall this now. You don't have to do all this, guys.
Shoaib,
Yeah,
we can also download this particular software in Mac as well, right?
for Mac, this will not work. Again, Shekhar. I guess it's
Oh.
Shekhar, right, who's asking.
Yeah.
Shaker. For Mac, this might not work because this is an exe file. So for Mac, you would have to still depend on VirtualBox itself, Shaker. So rather
Okay.
than going for VMware, you might have to go for the other alternative. There is a tool for Mac as well, VMware Fusion, but I don't have the cracked version for that. I only have the cracked version for my Windows platform. Okay,
Okay.
so if you're using Mac, you would have to use this tool called VirtualBox. And
VirtualBox.
yeah,
Okay.
you can download this for Mac operating system as well. So if you go to downloads, you can see this is available for macOS.
Mm-hmm.
VMware is also available, but again, as mentioned, it's around $199. So you might, I don't have the cracked version for that.
Okay.
Okay, right. Coming back to this is still uninstalling, guys. Let's wait for a minute. Almost done. Yep, it's done. So first things first, when you download that file, guys, this is what it would look like. I have this file already downloaded. So once downloaded, it should be a file of the size 621 megabytes or so. Okay, so this is the setup wizard file. So you would right click on that exe and run that with admin privileges, or run it as admin. Just a second. Yes, right click, run it as administrator, and that should start the setup wizard for us. Pretty simple steps, default steps itself. Next, 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 install. So let's wait for the wizard to start up. This might take a minute. Yep. So this is the application setup wizard. Welcome to VMware Workstation Pro Setup. Click on next. I accept the terms in the license agreement. Next. And then you have to make no changes here. So you don't need to install this application called Enhanced Keyboard Driver. Do not change the path as well. C program files, VMware Workstation, default path. Click on next again. And if you want, you can uncheck these options, guys. Better not to check for updates. Since this is a cracked version, if you update it, it might crash. Okay. So again, uncheck both these boxes. You don't want to join the customer experience program or check for updates. So uncheck them and click on next again. And you need to create a shortcut for easier access on desktop. So click on next. That's it. And now this starts the installation application of the application. And once it installs, it might ask you for a license key. And this license key is also available on the same Google Drive link, which I'll be sharing with you. So let me show you that. Once the installation is done, it will give you a prompt to enter the license key. As you would notice, it's done right now. And once you click on license here, it might ask you to enter the license key here. As mentioned, the license keys are also available on the same Google Drive link. So if I go back to that link, and if I go one step back, there's a folder here called keys. Open up that folder, and in that you'll find a text file called keys itself. And in that file, you have a series of multiple serial keys. Copy any one of them randomly, go back to the license prompt, and enter the same license key. And when you click on enter, that's it. Wizard has completed successfully the installation of VMware. Once that is done, you can run the application now from your desktop. And this is what VMware looks like. So when you run it for the first time on your system, guys, if you have no previous installations, you will not see any of these virtual machines. Since I had my virtual machines pre-installed already, these got imported back again. But when you run or install VMware for the first time, the only thing you would see is my computer. And in this now, we have to install the Kali Linux operating system. So let me quickly delete that. So now I don't have Kali anymore on this. Okay, so I'm going to install Kali in this now. First things first, we need to download the Kali OS. So to download that, we can go to the official website of Kali, kali.org. And now when you click on download here, this gives you two links or two methods to download Kali. One is installer image and one is virtual machine. Installer image is when you want to install Kali as your base operating system. I don't want to do that. I want my base operating system to stay Windows itself, and I want to install Kali as a small virtual machine. So therefore, I would click on the second option here. So when I click on this, it shows me the download links for the Kali operating system for various virtualization platforms. And what we have on our system right now is VMware. Just in case if you're working on Mac, you would install Oracle VirtualBox, and then you would download this one, the VirtualBox file for Kali. Right now on my system, since I have the VMware one, I need to click on this download link. And when I click on that, it's going to download a file which is around 2.9 gigabytes. Okay. And again, I have this file pre-downloaded on my system. Let me show you. I would recommend you create a folder called virtual machines, guys. And in that folder, save all your virtual machines in one same folder. Okay. So I have the same file here. If you notice, around the same size of 2.9 gigabytes. And when you download it, it will be in the format of a zip file. It's compressed. So you have to extract this now. Right click, and you can click on extract all, this Windows inbuilt option. But this takes a lot of time to extract the file. So if you want a much faster alternative, you can download a third-party application called 7-Zip. And if you have WinZip already on your system, you can ignore this. But if you don't have WinZip by any chance, click on 7-Zip here. This is a freeware utility to extract and compress files. Click on download, the first link here. And once downloaded, right-click and install. So this is the file, a very simple and lightweight application, just 1.5 megabytes, run as admin, click on install, and that's it. It's installed. Once you have the 7-Zip installed, go back to the same Kali folder, right click on the zip file, show more options, 7-Zip, and extract to Kali. So this option creates a new folder called Kali and extracts all the files from the zip file in that location. So when I click on this option here, again, right click, show more options, 7-Zip, extract to Kali. And now it starts extracting file for us. This might take a minute. And once extracted, you would have a folder with the same name here. And after extraction, the size for this file will go up to 12.8 gigabytes. So again, if you have low storage, guys, again, we are already downloading here content of around 20 GB, close to 20 GB already. So again, if you have just 20 GB, no, again, might not be sufficient for the installation. At least for beginning classes, have at least 40 gigs of storage. Okay, so that might, again, cause no issues with the installation. Okay, is that clear? Noor, Noor, right? Or who was asking the question regarding the storage? Oh, Syed. Syed. Right. Okay. So Syed, as mentioned, so again, if you notice, just for Kali itself, it is occupying close to 20 gigabytes, the zip file and the extracted file and the VMware and all that. Along with that, we might need to install other virtual machines as well, Metasploitable Windows 7. So as we progress with classes, we'll be installing other virtual machines as well. So recommended storage would be at least 50 gigabytes. Okay. To start, 40 or 20 should be sufficient. But as you progress, I would recommend at least have 50 gigabytes of free space. Okay. Uh, sure. Good. Now, once the file is extracted, guys, open up that folder. And when you open up that folder, you would have one more folder within that. Open that as well. And there's multiple files here, if you notice. And there's one file with a very unique looking icon, if you notice. And it has a unique extension as well. So this has an extension called .vmx. All the other files have a different extension, vmdk. Okay, so this is the image for the operating system, guys, the virtual machine. So all you have to do is right click on this and then click on open with, and in open with select VMware workstation. Okay, when you click on that now, this imports it in the VMware. If you notice now on the left side panel here, it adds the Kali Linux operating system. Once it's added here, there are some minor configuration settings to modify. First things first, how much memory do you want to allocate? So click on memory here. And now that is going to ask you how much RAM do you want to allocate. Recommended is 2 gigabytes. So just click on 2 gigabytes here. Processors, one processor. Every system usually has only one processor. And you can assign number of cores as 1 or 2. That's your choice. No harm in that. Okay. Hard disk, as mentioned, by default, it takes the size of 80 gigabytes. Okay. So it doesn't occupy the entire 80 gigabytes right now. So right now it's only occupying 13 gigs, as you can see, 12.9. And it can go up to a maximum size of 80 gigabytes. Okay. So by the end of this course as well, you will not be exceeding more than 20 gigabytes. Okay. For Kali specifically. Okay. So again, hard drive space 80 gigs max, and network adapter, bridged adapter. What I mean by bridged is this is now connected to the physical network directly. So this acts as a virtual machine in the same network of your base machine. So now your base machine and virtual machine can communicate with each other. They can send packets or data to each other because they're in the same network now. If you put it in that, the virtual machines will be in a different network and the base machine, the Windows machine, will be in a different network. Okay. So we don't want that. We want communication to happen between the virtual machines and the base machine. So we'll select bridged over here. Okay. And once that is done, nothing else to modify, guys. Memory, 2 gigabytes, processor, one processor, network adapter, bridged adapter. That's all. Click on OK. And you can click on power on after that. Now, in some rare cases, guys, when you click on power on, you might get an error saying fail to start the virtual machine. So in my system, I don't get that error, guys. I've never seen that error. In some older versions of Windows operating systems, you might get that issue. Just in case, if you're getting that issue, click on upgrade this virtual machine. Click on next. Click on hardware workstation 16, latest one. Okay, click on next again. And just click on alter this virtual machine. Don't create a clone. That will waste up space again. We don't want to waste any space. Just click on alter this virtual machine. Click on next and click on finish. That's it. So this is a step only required if you're getting that error. If you don't get that error when you click on power on this virtual machine, you don't need to perform this procedure. Okay. No harm if you perform it as well, basically. So when you click on power on, this should start the Kali Linux virtual machine now. So again, this is how we can run multiple operating systems at the same time. So in the background, I have my Windows 11 operating system running here. And within the virtualization software, within the VMware software, I have my Linux operating system running. So this is how we can run multiple operating systems simultaneously. So once you get, once this machine boots up, it might give you a login screen, guys. So don't worry, the passwords and the credentials are actually mentioned in the official website itself. So if you go back to Kali website, if you scroll up a bit, you can see these images have the default credentials, Kali and Kali. Okay. So once you get the login screen here, give the username as Kali and password Kali. Click on login. And now you have a readily installed Kali Linux virtual machine. And if you want to go in full screen mode, there's this button here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fourth button from right, fourth option. When you click that, your system now goes in full screen mode. So this is the Kali Linux operating system. And again, as mentioned, we will have a requirement for this mandatorily in the upcoming sessions. The reason why we need to use this is, guys, all the required tools for cybersecurity are pre-installed. And these tools are only available in Kali. They're not available for you in any other Windows operating system. Now, if you want, you can install them in Ubuntu and other platforms as well. But you would have to go through the trouble of installing all of these again. With Kali, they come pre-installed. Okay, so Kali Linux is one of the best operating systems specifically for cybersecurity. Okay, again, contains most of the required penetration testing tools pre-installed. At least has more than 600 plus tools, guys, available specifically in this OS. As you can see, this is the list of all tools available in Kali specifically for cybersecurity. Okay, So this is one of the virtual machines we need to install, guys. There's others as well. So this is the attacker machine or the machine of the penetration tester. We need a couple of victim machines, machines on which we perform the attacks on. So in the upcoming sessions, as we progress with our classes, we'll install those virtual machines as well. Okay, but for now, this is my Kali Linux OS. Okay. Any questions, any doubts up to this point? G1, Shekhar, Iran, Carlos.
Hello, sir.
Hi, G1.
Hello. Yeah, sir, I was asking that means what kind of the hardware requirement for the as a laptop? What are the specification does the
Right.
laptop need?
Again,
Yeah.
basic minimum requirement, Jeevan, as mentioned earlier, I would recommend minimum to minimum i3 processor if possible. If you have i3, well and good. If you have i5, much better. Recommended is i5. So processor
Okay. And
is
RAM, sir, means I have
i3
a 4 GB RAM.
or i5. RAM might be a bit less for that, Jeevan. So RAM at least 6 GB. Okay. Or recommended is 8 GB. If you have more, much better. Okay.
Oh,
And storage,
okay.
as mentioned, at least minimum to minimum
Okay.
50 to 60 gigabytes. Okay. Of hard drive storage.
Okay. So as I have a 4 GB RAM, so I need to means switch to the 6 GB, right?
You might have to increase the RAM, so you can add another memory chip if your system has a slot in it available. If not, you would have to go for a different device, Jeevan. Okay, most of
Yeah.
your systems
Okay.
might come with an extra slot, so you can check if your
Yeah.
system has an extra slot and you can add extra RAM. That shouldn't cost you more than 2,000 or much, to 2,000 bucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
right. Any other questions? Shubha, Noor, Bhavin, Syed. No, no, no. Again, by default it's selected two over there, Noor. But now once I've changed it, if you notice over here, processors is two because I'm assigning two cores over here. Oh, when I open this up, you can see there are a number of cores as two. If I change that to one as well, now you would see it shows processors one. Okay. So I'm assigning two cores, hence it shows two over there. One processor, two cores. Again, your operating system's processor has multiple threaded cores at the same time. So usually, if you're using i3 or i5, it might have a quad core or hexa core or octa core. So basically, more the cores, more multitasking it can do. So two cores is like giving two parts of that processor to the virtual machine. Okay. So right now, if I go to my system information, my device is, I guess, 6 cores, if you notice. So out of those 6 cores, I'm assigning 2 cores to the Kali system. So the remaining 4 will be used by the base machine. Okay, right. So yeah, that's that, guys. A brief intro. Again, this can act as a demo for you to understand how to perform the lab setup. One last thing, please drop your emails in the chat box, guys, so that I can share these files with you, to all of you. And you can perform the installation of this whenever time permits. Setup by this. One second. Hi, Noor, I can hear you. Definitely. One second. Yes, I will cover that as well. I'll share that as well. One second. Let me show it right away first. So again, this is the course curriculum, guys. What we have already covered is basic introduction to what ethical hacking is and what is networking. What we learned today is virtualization, installation, and management of virtual machines. In the upcoming sessions, we'll learn Linux and Windows commands. After this is done, we dive into the advanced concepts. Okay? Footprinting, scanning, network enumeration, system hacking, malware attacks, sniffing with Wireshark, okay, man-in-the-middle attack, hacking Wi-Fi routers, denial of service attack, web application attacks, vulnerability assessment, penetration testing, cryptography. Again, these are bonus topics. Again, I'll be sharing the resources for this: cryptography, reverse engineering, IoT, cloud security, Splunk. Okay. This is again, we'll be covering this practically, hacking mobile phones. So this is a course where we'll be covering performing pen testing on each and every endpoint, guys. We talk about system security, we talk about network security, we talk about wireless security, we talk about web server security, web application security, and mobile security. So every single device that could possibly exist in an organization, we need to know how to check the loopholes on that device and how do you remediate those loopholes if there exist any. And we also learn as a black hat hacker, if a loophole exists, what hacks can be performed or what attacks can be performed. We practically learn this course in two tracks. How do you perform these multiple cyber threats and how do you protect your organization from these cyber threats? Unless and until you know what attack is, or what harm is that attack causing, you don't know how to, again, remove that vulnerability or remediate that attack. So again, we'll be learning this in two tracks. Again, completely practical implemented course, guys. Every single session that we'll have from here on, we'll discuss 10-15 minutes theory of it in the beginning, and the remaining 35 to 40 minutes we'll cover the practical aspect of it. Okay. So again, as mentioned, there's one topic already covered, basic networking fundamentals. You'll be getting the recordings of those and today's recording as well. And whenever time permits, you can do it. Yeah. Good question. Right. To answer that question a bit with real-time scenarios, again, this is a website specifically for Indian community guys for cybersecurity. So there's a community called Null Community. This is again built by cybersecurity professionals all around the world. And this is a website for Indian related jobs again. Now the job roles might be same everywhere. So after this course is done, you can apply in the domain of VAPT, or you can also apply in the domain of SOC and freshers. So you can apply for security analyst, SOC analyst, cyber security consultant, security consultant. If I go to freshers job roles here, you can apply for these as well. Web pen testing, oh, this is for trainer, ignore this. IoT pen tester, security consultant, SOC analyst level 2, junior security analyst. These are all the job roles which you are, again, eligible for once this course is done. Okay. No. Right. Any other questions, guys? Shekhar, G1, Carlos, or
No, sir.
All good. Thank you.
again, the course we are learning right now, Sayed, is on the basis of a certification called Certified Ethical Hacking version 12. This is a certification from the company called, or the organization called EC Council. So the course that we are learning is from this same organization, EC Council, for Certified Ethical Hacker. Okay, so after this course is done, if you want, you can get certified by writing an exam with the same certification itself, CEH. Okay, again, not mandatory. Not all organizations will ask for a certification, but if they do, this is the exam that you can apply for or write for and certify yourself. Okay, so the course curriculum that we are following is basically in terms with this course, Certified Ethical Hacking from EC Council. That is all different. Again, the course content might be same, the topics might be same, just a different vendor for that certification. There's Google, there's CompTIA, there's Offensive Security, there's EC Council. Again, multiple different vendors. Again, the course certifications have different names. Content is same, no matter where you go.
But after this course, we will be getting a certificate from DURGASOFT, right?
From again, from your respective institutes, you'll be getting a course completion certificate, guys. Okay.
And if we need to write an exam from EC Council, then we have to apply it separately, correct?
Yes, Shekhar. Again, if you're planning on writing the certification, you can let me know. Again, I do keep getting EC Council's discount coupons and all. So again, I'll get you registered there with a discounted price, and you can write the exam directly with them.
Okay, sure. I will let
So
you
it's
know.
a 125 question exam basically with multiple choice questions.
Okay.
And again, you need to get at least 70% of them right, which is
Okay.
again amounting to 101 or 102 questions also.
Okay. Yeah, sure. It's required for me. The place where I live, they will be required to show
Keeps
the
differing again, Shekhar, depends. So there's multiple seasons and all throughout the year, the price keeps changing. But on a rough average, it's around $450, $450 in US currency. Might vary, $450 to $500 or so.
Okay. Okay.
No, that is before the discount side. Okay, 450 or 500 before the discount. Again, even if I do get a discount coupon, it may be max to max of 5% or 10%. Rarely 10%, but 5% somewhere here or there. Okay, so yeah, that's that, guys. Any other questions? Shubha, Noor, Bhavin, Sayed. Sure. No problem, guys. For today's session, any other doubts or so, guys? Anyone? Shubha, you have not dropped your email. I can share these files to you over the email. I think I'm missing a couple other emails as well, guys. Shekhar, I've not gotten your email.
I've already dropped in the group chat.
Oh, in the chat. Carlos, you can drop your email as well. Yes, guys. Monday to Friday, same time, 7, 8 p.m. IST. Yeah, same time again, guys. No change in timings. Again, an important point to note, guys, it is Monday to Friday from in my Indian Standard Time. So if you're in a different time zone, you have to translate to those time zones. Okay, so if it's IST to EST, it'll be Indian Monday to Indian Friday. Okay, so today it's Thursday for me, right? So tomorrow will be the last class for the week. Tomorrow it's Friday for me. Okay, so if you're in a different time zone, sometimes it's your Sunday to your Thursday, which is my Monday to my Friday, right? So again, if you're in EST right now, I think you're a couple hours behind. So we'll be having it at 8 p.m. my time, which is your 10:30 in the morning. Okay. So again, you'll have to translate that to your time zones, guys. It's Monday to Friday in Indian Standard Time, IST, 8 p.m. Sure, guys. So excuse me. So yeah, that's that. Nothing further for our session today, guys. I hope it was interesting. I hope I could get you hooked to the class. And yeah, please download these softwares on your systems whenever time permits over the weekend. You can perform the installation. Tomorrow, we're going to learn some important commands on Linux. So again, a brief sneak peek into the next session's discussion. So what we are going to talk about in the next session is on Linux commands. We've already covered networking fundamentals. So we're going to talk about basics of Linux. Okay, so we learn what Kali Linux is basically, a brief intro to what Kali is, how is it different from Windows and Mac OS, what the file system architecture of Linux is, and again, the important folders in Linux and the commands in Linux. Okay, different important commands. So you'll be getting these documentations and all from the upcoming sessions. Okay, so again, I've explained every single command with a clear description and a screenshot of each command's output. So you'll be getting again all the recordings, you'll be getting these materials, you'll be getting the notepad file data, whichever I write, and all of that. Okay, as we progress with our sessions. Okay, so a brief peek into the next sessions that we'll talk about. Okay, so yeah, that's that, guys. Nothing further. Let's exit the session here, and we can connect back tomorrow at the same time to learn on Linux commands a bit more in detail.
Thank you so much, Shoaib. See you then. Bye.
The recordings will be given to you by the institute side. These documentations or these softwares and all, I'll share it directly with you on your email. Okay. So the company has the recordings on their server. It's not on my device. So once the session ends, the recording gets converted and they'll share it directly to your email. Other than that, the documentation, the notepad files, the application softwares or whatever it is, I'll share those directly to you. Yeah, sure. That's that, guys. Have a good day. I'll see you tomorrow at the same time where we talk about Linux commands. Bye bye. Take care, guys. See you tomorrow. Thank you, guys. Bye.
Bye, sir.
Bye, guys.